I'm really pleased to see that. It must be one of the earliest to that comment. Yes, yes.
Margaret's giving.
Yes. You're right there, Rich. Is that one? Yeah, yes, it's not very funny. Did you get it out of the wash bucket? And my clothes that I had when I was thinner. A lot of new clothes now. Most people say, oh, well, I don't care, will they? No, well, he dressed himself as a woman. I wasn't there. And then when I come home, don't show his face.
Were you up to this? You need to get these samples.
No, I didn't go probably not in case. Oh, yes, you were there.
No, we went before the others. They was just starting as we left.
Oh, right. Yes, well, I was down at the selection, so, and I saw you two out there.
Yeah.
Now I need to go and this is Carol's, so I might be a practice project to order this in the gym. There is. Here, you look there. No, of course not. But we've got Shane's playing, Jimmo's playing, and Helen's is again. So, yeah, because. Yes, June's out.
Oh, that's right.
Pauline Taylor's out. And who else? And the other Pauline.
So who else?
Shane Grimes. He's Jenny's. Well, probably 3, because Helen is she's nearly a permanent. Yeah.
That's all that.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? No, everybody's talking about
Oh, yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's never
expect so as they gave me because I went in just to see it. Wasn't allowed to say it. I mean, if I'd have known, I should have brought those. Some do, some.
Sometimes it's protection or I tell them what's in
I think it's fatigue, feeling cruel, sweating. I mean, yeah, I wasn't around at 6, so I was apparently wake up in the morning and the bed would be so changed. Anyway, they just died. He went to see Peter Ship one day and went down the paddock and come back.
That was good.
Get it all done.
Probably,
Where you guys having Christmas? He's in Tasmania with one of his sons.
No, that would be me. It's happening when it starts to get too like it.
Not starting, we are.
No, we're not with friends.
sorry for this reason.
Life's good blokes.
What was the problem? Anything worth anything worth fighting about?
Like kilt.
Don't worry, there's something in the bus.
Was it the first time you've ever
We can tell you, like the back
I found mums the other day just telling me what was in the other day. And Robin's like, not a funeral.
I like the choice.
Because we could have had more, but you know, where did it stop? That's what, I'm sorry, I was playing bowls, and then I should have played back.
But it's hard.
Because we'd already decided and saying, no, we're not
It's really, it's a hotel, isn't it? It's a book, hotels.
Yeah.
And I really don't have a problem with the job. I'm going down to your home that I've been things around, so we just need to keep on top of it all. That's a big thing, and I feel. It might be good about it, you know, get used to either writing your name.
Start to live with it. It's just how things seem to change. I think maybe they should have done a lot of these things back in the early part of the
I think they're feeling their way anyway. But certainly right on with the nursing homes. We've masks around the place, so it's never a problem. We're on it, make sure I've got one easily accessible car and things.
shopping centre Friday.
Wasn't sure.
Some haven't, some don't. Well, you feel that you're protected yourself, you know, the other sorts of
Obviously I was shopping more and I didn't lady, for example.
It's not the best to wear.
I've got some top ones down there, it was better, and glass of
So I think I might have had the best. Extremely nice.
and cheese with the weather today.
It's nice to wake up this morning, walk outside,
Yeah, nothing blowing around.
10 days before 9/11.
They get used to wearing stuff.
Shouldn't be looking at those. We've been down at yesterday. 2 showers of rain and we stopped and waited and everything. It's all right. It's just the wind on your back all the time, you know. The only people that have been happy with the operators at the wind farms. Spinning around quite happily.
There's a dance and everything else.
What do you think that was?
Go and check, go and have a Dutch bucket, so I do see a rain and look chopping it.
I think rubber rolls are nearly finished breaking.
Oh,
Just only about a week with nothing. You're right, I'm going to get right on top.
They've got a bit of machinery there,
It's 3 headers, yeah. So I was quite happy with that, yeah.
it's all the doubles all around it, bubbles. Three of them.
I'd asked them how
They've got a few acres now too.
they sure have.
Yeah, I said, they go on the it's a road right out to Blues. There's only a little patch of Gerald's on the
In between, that's right.
Oh, no, they do stopped it anyway, it's a thing, Gerald's little patch.
Gerald must have been finishing off doing some work recently, because I can see his truck with some mechanic.
Oh, that's good. Not been playing.
Guys, yeah.
2004. Was he bowling in 2000? Yes, he was, wasn't he? He bowled that.
His son can play golf.
Who's that?
Gerald's son.
Is he?
It's out, when it's over, you know, or when he's able to, it's nice bloke.
Yeah, oh,
Come on, John, I'll take it.
Oh, no, what?
I'm not sure if you can do neighbours and stuff.
Actually, he was something that Gerald said we could go out to Gerald's and he was his son down there. That's just all over. All grown up. It's like the young girl walked past the other day. And we took someone that said, oh, I think someone down the road. They walked past and
She's right for a while. Living over here now. I think she helps out on the farm, a lot of different things.
Put your sweet lips a little closer. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low. And you can tell your friend there with you, he'll have to go. Whisper to me, tell me, do you love me true? Or is he holding you the way I do? Though love is blind, make up your mind, I've got to know. Should I hang up, or will you tell him he'll have to go? You can't say the words I want to hear while you're with another man. Do you want the answer, yes or no? Darling, I'll understand. Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone. Let's pretend that we're together all alone. I'll tell the man to turn the jukebox way down low. And you can tell your friend there with you, he'll have to go.
Good morning and welcome to this funeral service of thanksgiving and remembrance for John McLennan. Before we start John's service, now's the opportunity, if you have a mobile phone, to just make sure it's turned off or in a silent position. Because over the next 40 minutes or so is a time when we don't need to be connected to the outside world. Because we're all drawn here because of this man. Because John has been a part of your life in some significant way. My name's Ian McQueen, and I count it as a privilege to have been invited by Jenny and Robin to assist you today in celebrating John's life. It's without a doubt that his death has brought sad change to the lives of many of you, not only our community as a whole as well. Remember the special relationships that he had with you. He was a dearly loved husband to Margaret, who's passed away, and a much loved dad and pa to Jenny and to Malcolm, and to Robin and Russell, and to Daniel and Lucy. And a much loved brother to Margaret, who's passed away as well. It's interesting, in the paper at the bottom of the main death notice it has, "One of life's good blokes, he'll be missed not only by his family, but also by his many friends, reunited with his loved ones." It's interesting, since John has passed away, different people have contacted me and just said those very words, "what a good bloke," and just little things that he used to do within the community. And these actually come up in the eulogy as well. I knew John as well. See him around the place from time to time. And it's, like I say, it's very special to be here today. Nothing can or forever will be quite the same for each one of us, because this man has come to mean something special for us. And today is a special day. Today is a historical day. Last week was a historical day when he passed away, and this week's a historical day when we celebrate his life. And that's why we've gathered here today, to remember John, a man who lived amongst us and a man who shared the rewards and troubles of life with us. And it goes without saying that his life indeed was a life that was lived fully and fruitfully by any standard. None of us really know when our time upon earth is going to finish, and it's probably just as well. But one thing remains the same for each one of us, is that we need to adjust our own lives, as we need to learn to live with our own lives, with John physically not being part of us, whether it be your family circle or our community as a whole. It's a time when we can just realise there is a gap, an unfillable gap within our circle. It gives us a time to just reassess our own values and our own priorities as we learn to live our lives with John not being part of it. When someone like John, who's been a part of our lives, passes away, we instinctively mourn their loss. Grief is an automatic reaction when someone who's been part of our life passes away. Our reactions show in just so many different ways, because we can be so sorry that John's passed away and no longer part of our life. But at the same time, we can be just so thankful, and we can celebrate his life for the many good qualities that he had and how he's been able to influence our own lives in so many different ways. Because it's the same part that allows us to mourn, it's also the same part that allows us to simultaneously celebrate his life. And it assists us in reserving a special place in our hearts and in our minds. John, in his own way, has been an inspiration to all of us. His earthly life is now over, but we do have the memories of this wonderful man to retain in our hearts. And that's one thing throughout our own lives, that no one can really take our memories away. We can choose to keep our memories, or we can choose to let them go. This is a personal choice that we each have to make. I want to share with you now a verse from the Bible, the Old Testament part of the Bible, book of Ecclesiastes, and it talks about there being a time for everything. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heaven. There's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and also a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to gather stones and a time to scatter them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. The message we can get from this is throughout our lives, it indeed is a time for every aspect of our life. None of us really know how long we're going to be upon this earth, but it's important how we carry ourselves and how we live our own lives. None of us are saints, and if we are, we're just kidding ourselves. But it's important that we try to make our own lives of real worth, as John did. And when we look back at John's life, we'll see a life that has been lived well and of real worth. I've mentioned that I had met John on a few occasions, and I'm now going to share with you his life story that's been prepared by the family. John Wilson McLennan was born on the 15th of February 1935 to Doris and Harold. He was their second child, and he had an older and much loved sister, Margaret. John attended the Blair Athol Primary School and went on to Adelaide Tech, and then he went on to university, and this is where he studied pharmacy for a year. But he decided that wasn't for him, so he obtained a job working as an insurance agent and salesman. I reckon he would have been good at that.
Yeah.
He enjoyed talking, didn't he? John was a keen tennis player in his younger days, and he was also a regular attendee at St Cuthbert's Church dances. And this is where he met the love of his life, Margaret Trouse. And they married in St Cuthbert's on Wednesday, the 30th of April, 1958. On the 13th of February 1960, they welcomed their first daughter, Jenny. And on the 18th of January 1964, right on Margaret's birthday, she received a very special birthday present, because that's when Robin was born. And their family was then complete. Career-wise, John got a job as an insurance agent and salesman, and he enjoyed many years in the insurance world. And he especially loved the freedom that it gave him, particularly the fact that he can go and play midweek golf with friends or clients, of course, and knowing that no one could actually find him or check up where he was, because this is way before the time of mobile phones. The true thing with that, I think we can all attest to. John always harboured a desire to run a pub, and he convinced Margaret, when they felt the girls were old enough, that they'd give this a go. John and Margaret bought the Commercial Hotel in Burra in January 1976. They loved it in Burra, and it was a very happy time in all the family's life. It was in Burra where they were introduced to lawn bowls, the passion that remained with John for the rest of his life. After leaving Burra, they spent a few years doing relief work at various hotels across Adelaide and South Australia. They then went on to run the Botanic Gardens kiosk and restaurant, but they decided that the pub life was more to their liking, and they wanted to have another go at running a pub. And so that's when they bought the lease at the Dalrymple Hotel in Stansbury. John and Margaret ended up loving Stansbury so much that they decided to retire there. And they lived there right up until ill health forced John to go into assisted care, firstly at Eleanor in Stansbury, and then into South Park here in Middleton. Moving into a nursing home can be challenging for a lot of people, But John really enjoyed his time, both at Eleanor and at South Park. And it's at this, I think it was probably with his natural demeanour, the fact that he was always joking and his cheeky ways with all the nurses and staff. And it's at this point that the family would like to thank the staff at both Eleanor and South Park for their kindness and attention. And we'd also like to especially thank the staff at Yorktown Hospital and South Park McLennan for their dedicated care and kindness that was shown to John over the last few weeks. Their loving care that was shown to John to help alleviate his pain and to make him comfortable will never be forgotten. Plus the additional care of looking after us, his family. It wasn't just all about John, it was about the extended family. And I think this is why we are so lucky to be living here in the country. It's that if you're not family, you're certainly treated like family. That's so important. John was definitely one of life's good blokes. He was funny and kind and always the life of the party. People were drawn to him and he in turn loved people. As a dad, Jenny and Robin would remember a loving and kind dad who made them laugh. He was always there, although sometimes only briefly, as golf of course would beckon. He was always there, where possible, at school events, dancing or sport. And as adults, he was always really interested in the going-ons in their lives. John was a caring and supportive friend to Russell and also to Malcolm. He'd often enjoy having a beer, or a day at the races, or the soccer, or the footy together. John was very proud and happy when he finally became a grandpa to Daniel in 1997. He was absolutely delighted when his daughter Lucy was born in 1998. He loved them both and took a great interest in their lives. And with Margaret, they enjoyed just seeing how they were getting on at school, and getting on at sporting events as well. And recently he was absolutely very, very proud to learn that both of you had completed your university degrees together and you were working in your chosen fields. John played golf often up until his 60s, but bowls then became his great love. He and Margaret and Jenny and Malcolm would play a few times each week, and when he travelled away, he would always find a bowling green to play on. He made new friends, and it was a good opportunity to just socialise with others. He was the current patron of the Stansbury Bowling Club and a life member, and dedicated many hours to volunteering on committees, the tournaments, greenkeeping, and all the other little tasks that are involved in running a club. He also helped do the cutlery, and this is something that he and Margaret loved to do. John was also a volunteer at the Stansbury Visitor Information Centre for many years, as well as being on Meals on Wheels. He loved being a part of the Stansbury community, and he liked to keep busy, and he loved to help people. We are so sorry that many of his friends can't be here today due to the current restrictions that we're all living under, as well as being unable to attend due to current distance or ill health. We hope that those of you who are watching, and I know there are a few people watching today, that you'll know that indeed you also played such a large part in assisting John's family at this time, and you've been part of our larger community as a whole. It is with so much love that we farewell John, one of life's blokes, a life lived well. And as Mayor Angelou once said, at the end of the day, People won't remember what you said. People won't remember what you did. But they will remember how you made them feel. And Dad, Pa, Johnny, you made us all feel loved and happy, and we thank you for everything. Rest in peace with your beloved Margie. I'm sure at this time our thoughts turn to our own experiences of John. We're just going to pause now for a minute. We're going to watch a slideshow and listen to some very appropriate music as we reflect back on John's life. I think those, what can you say? It sort of encompassed the whole lifetime, didn't it, eh? I think one thing that is very evident, John loved life. See the smile, not only on his face, but also everyone in his company. It doesn't matter at what age the death of someone who's part of our family comes. It's really hard for us to accept that they've left our family nest, so to speak. During his life, John filled his life well, and he made it count. He did make a difference. A man with a dry sense of humour, a loyal friend with a strong commitment to his family, special commitment and connection to his grandchildren. His enjoyment of holiday with family in Tasmania and Queensland being some of the highlights in his life. Remember him for his love of sport, golf and bowls. Special bond with the horses and the racing industry, going to the races every now and again. His positive role in many ways, unpaid social worker in his role being a publican, listening, giving advice, and putting a smile on people's faces as well. A man with a friendly nature who was always up for a chat or a yarn. These are qualities that some people can learn. Some people are born, some people are gifted. And it goes without saying that John indeed had the gift for bringing joy to others and making you feel included as well. It's at times like a funeral where it's a good opportunity for us to come together, to be able to share our own stories, and more importantly, to be able to support each other as well. Not to continue with our lives in gloom and despair, but to continue our lives being grateful that John indeed was a part of our life, part of our family, part of our community as well. The care that we give to his family on days like today hopefully will be returned to us in our time of need as well. John had gone to church in his earlier years, and he'd certainly attended the church, a church service that they had at both Eleanor and South Park. He also knew the words to the Lord's Prayer. And if you'd like to join with me now, we'll say the traditional version of the Lord's Prayer. The prayer's not your thing, that's okay. Just be quiet, if you wouldn't mind, just being quiet and listen, maybe reflecting back on John's life as we pray this prayer. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. We're coming to the time now where we will be committing John to be cremated. And as we lay to rest the body of John McLennan, we retain special memories of him. Memories of a dearly loved family member. Memories of a friend. Memories of someone who we've respected throughout his life. These same memories don't hold us to the past, because our lives do go on without you in our presence, John. And so it is this afternoon that we say farewell to you, John. Just your physical body, because you don't need it anymore. And so we've entrusted John Wilson McLennan to the hands of God. We now commit you to be cremated. We say earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. You're finished with your body, your earthly life is now over, but your memories indeed will remain with each one of us who have counted you as a friend. It's your character, your spirit. These are the things who made you who you were. These are the things that we'll remember about you. John's life has made a contribution in so many ways, and we're glad that he walked in our company. And we were part of his company as well. John, we're going to leave you here in peace. We're going to go on our continued ways without you. But as we go on our ways, we'll remember the qualities that you gave us. And may we all move from this place with continued care and concern for one another. May you now rest in peace. Friends, this concludes John's funeral service here this afternoon. Shortly I'll be inviting Jenny and Robin and the rest of the family to come forward to take a flower and to place it upon John's coffin as a token of their love and remembrance of him. Likewise, whether you be relatives or friends who are gathered here, feel free to come forward if you wish. Take one of these flowers, and as you lay it upon John's coffin, it's a time when you might like to just quietly give thanks that you're a part of his life and he also a part of yours. And following our time here, we're moving next door to Sweetwater Function Centre, walk down the driveway and have something to eat and drink. And more importantly, share our stories. Share our stories of this wonderful man. May he now rest in peace. John's surname was McLennan, and previously mine is McWing. It's a song that we'll be listening now that's dear to the hearts to a lot of us with the Scottish ancestry. Something that he was always proud of. He'd always comment about each other's ties because I'd often see him wearing the McLennan tie. We're listening to some music now as we're coming forward and placing a tribute on his coffin. Such was the life of John McLennan. Those of you who are unaware, this is Scotland the Brave, of course. Feel free in your own time to come forward. Just in your own time, there's no hurry. And so just in your own time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to come forward, please feel free to do so. So rather sweet.
Well, don't I look like it? Sure. But we were not thinner in summer. We were not. Where we all? We look like the bagpipes and everything, wouldn't we? Try to make sure we had the cousins in there as well. Some of us all looked a bit like thinner in those, didn't we all?
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you for being part and joining the family today as we've celebrated John's life. Shortly we'll be turning off our webcam, but once again, thank you very much. If you'd like a video of the service, if for some reason the link's broken at some stage, please feel free to contact us directly and we can email to you a DVD of the service, post out a DVD of the service. Once again, thank you very much for being part of our celebration as we've remembered John's life here in our community.